Exposed, the incredible moment he discovered her hidden talent, a life-changing transformation. Jake Thompson was used to fading into the background. In a town buzzing with his high-achieving siblings, he felt like a ghost, visible yet unseen. School was a relentless reminder. His brother was the class president, his sister, a star athlete. As he shuffled through the local community center that warm summer evening, the thought of volunteering was about as enticing as a Monday morning. But something whispered that perhaps tonight would be different, that tonight he might finally step out of their shadows. Enter Maggie. She was a single mother with a cautious smile, clutching an old guitar as if it were a fragile piece of glass. Jake noticed her immediately, captivated by the kindness etched in her tired eyes. It turned out she wrote songs, beautiful songs, buried under the weight of survival and judgment. Yet, when he tried to coax her into sharing her music, her defenses shot up. "No one wants to hear my songs," she snapped, her voice trembling with anguish. A chill wrapped around him, tightening painfully. He could feel the echo of his insecurities intertwining with the fear curling in her chest. Something sparked within him. This was not just Maggie's battle, it was theirs. As he shared his thoughts with her, a plan bloomed in his mind: a community talent show. It could be the spark they both needed. As he spoke, he could see a flicker of hope in her eyes slowly transform into a shield of doubt. He was used to disappointment. "We need this," he said, his heart racing. "It's time to show who we really are." But Maggie recoiled, fear gripping her tightly. "You don't understand," she whispered, the weight of her past crashing over her like waves, promising to sweep her under if she dared to reach for the surface. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the buzz around the talent show intensified, Jake felt a strange mix of excitement and dread. The townsfolk rallied around the idea. Jake's family lauded it as a rare sign of ambition from him. They didn't see his fears, the gnawing worry of disappointing them. In another world, Maggie might be the one shining on a stage, but here she was standing on the precipice, unable to leap. Their lives intertwined, with every encounter adding pressure to the already tense atmosphere. Rumors began to swirl, whispers questioning whether Maggie's talent was worth the show's time, doubts that jabbed at both of them like splinters deep in the skin. As the days dwindled toward the performance, the stakes rose. Jake could imagine it, the crowd, the lights, their moment of truth. He felt the knot in his chest tighten, a reminder of every time he felt inadequate. Meanwhile, Maggie battled her demons, fear creeping in at every corner, threatening to suffocate whatever flicker of courage she had. Would she seize this fleeting opportunity, or let it slip through her fingers like so many before it? The answer danced on the edge of possibility, tantalizingly close, yet maddeningly out of reach. The night of the talent show loomed, a heartbeat away, as they both grappled with the lives they were meant to lead and the whispers that dared to challenge their worth. Jake barely slept the night before the talent show. His heart raced, thrumming like a wild bird in his chest. The glow of the streetlights flickered against his window, casting shadows that danced around his thoughts. He imagined the crowd, the faces of people who had known him all his life, staring with expectation, wondering if he would be like his siblings or fade away into the same obscurity he had grown used to. In those moments, he felt the weight of his own unrealized dreams pressing down on him. Maggie, on the other hand, was up before sunrise, her breath catching at the thought of performing. The morning light streamed into her small apartment, illuminating dust particles that swirled around as if they danced to an unheard melody. Her guitar, resting against the wall, felt heavier than usual. Each note she had written echoed in her mind, a poignant reminder of the life experiences etched into every chord. As she paced her living room, her son Tyler's laughter floated in from outside. It was a sweet sound, a gentle reminder of her reason to fight through the fear. "Mom, come play with me," he called, and for a moment, she considered trading the stage for a playground, the guitar for a simple game of tag. But then the weight of her dreams clashed against the comfort of her fears, and she hesitated. Jake arrived at the community center early, heart pounding, echoing his breaths as he adjusted the spotlight settings. The stage was empty, an invitation to fill it with dreams, yet that stark emptiness clawed at his resolve. He promised himself he would support Maggie, but how could he do that without the confidence to stand there himself? It was too late to turn back now. The talent show began at 6. Friends and locals filled the seats, excitement mingling with apprehension in the air. Jake watched the crowd, faces lit up by chatter, anticipation thrumming like a pulse. Suddenly, amidst the laughter and familiar voices, he spotted Maggie slipping through the doors, her guitar slung across her shoulder. A knot formed in his throat as he caught her eye, a mixture of fear and determination reflected back at him. His heart sank a little when he noticed her glancing around, her fingers taut against her guitar case. Would she take the leap? The show ran its course, performances from jugglers, a magician, and a talented dancer, all eliciting cheers and applause. The atmosphere buzzed with energy, but in the pit of his stomach, anxiety brewed. Every act was a reminder of their shared corner of uncertainty. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Maggie's name was announced. Jake's breath hitched as she stood up and walked toward the stage, guitar in hand, shoulders squared. Each step seemed both timid and firm, a woman battling her history with every stride. The murmurs quieted, and as Maggie stepped into the spotlight, Jake felt something shift within him. Maybe it was the turbulent mix of emotions coursing through the crowd, or the way Maggie stood there, vulnerable yet poised. Would she find her voice, or would the past seize that moment too? All eyes were on her, but none more than Jake's. In the stillness of that heated moment, a question hung in the air, full of promise and trepidation. Would they both finally break free from the chains of doubt? As the first notes rang out, the whole room held its breath, teetering between fear and hope. Jake's heart raced, consumed by expectation. What if Maggie, against all odds, transformed that night? And for himself, would he dare to step into the light alongside her? The answer seemed to dance just out of reach, echoing in the space between their fears and dreams, poised to reveal something neither had anticipated. The moment Maggie struck the first chord, a wave of sound rolled over the audience, washing away the silence. She closed her eyes, letting the music cradle her. Each pluck of the string resonated deep within her, each note a step closer to the woman she had long wanted to be. Jake watched, every nerve in his body alive with her energy. She opened her eyes, meeting Jake's gaze for just a moment. It felt like the world around them fell away. The stage lights mixed with the warm glow of familiarity, and suddenly, the years of fear and doubt seemed to evaporate, leaving only the melody dancing in the air. Maggie's voice broke the stillness, raw and beautiful. It soared through the community center, weaving stories of heartache and resilience. The lyrics spilled from her, each word a testament to the struggles she had faced. Jake felt a lump in his throat, pride swelling inside him. He could see that this was more than just a performance. It was a breakthrough. Tears streamed down Maggie's cheeks, mixing with the smile that burst forth as she played. The crowd leaned in, captivated. The listeners' faces transformed from nervous anticipation to joyous elation. They swayed, clapped, and cheered. Each response fueled her fire, and Maggie became a force of nature, pouring everything she had into that moment. But in the back of his mind, Jake battled with the familiar shadow of self-doubt creeping up again. Here she was, blooming on stage, and he remained tethered by his fears. What was he doing? Just standing there, watching her light shine while he felt like a ghost in his own life. As she reached the bridge of the song, the notes entwined like threads in a tapestry, and Jake's heart raced even faster. It was intoxicating and terrifying at the same time. Every chord she struck seemed to say, "You can do this too," as if the universe had conspired to reveal their transformation right before their eyes. Maggie took a deep breath, a moment of stillness gripping the crowd. It felt as if the world held its breath along with her, and Jake leaned forward, desperate to catch whatever she would offer next. She started to improvise, pouring raw emotion into her playing, allowing her heart to lead the way. Suddenly, she locked eyes with him again, vulnerability written all over her face, mixed with fierce determination. In that one moment, everything shifted. She wasn't just performing for the audience, she was expressing her soul, the very essence that had long been suppressed. Jake felt an eruption of hope within him. Looking at Maggie, he found clarity. If she could stand there, brave and true, wasn't it only fair to push his own boundaries as well? They could transform together. With her last triumphant note ringing out, the audience erupted into thunderous applause. Maggie stood there, breathless and radiant, soaking up the love around her. This was her moment, one she had almost let go of, but now she had it, bright and fierce. Jake's heart swelled for her, but also a new wave of courage surged within him. Could he truly step into the light? As the applause faded, he found himself rising slowly from his seat, legs heavy yet filled with a clarity he hadn't felt in ages. There was something vital emerging in him, urging him forward. Just as he took a step, Maggie caught sight of him, surprise flooding her features. "Jake!" she exclaimed, her voice a mixture of disbelief and unrestrained joy. His heart raced, every fear and hesitation igniting in the chance this could be both their transformation. Could they both break free of their chains tonight? With the crowd's energy still vibrating in the air, he didn't know what he would say or do, but one thing was certain, it was time to find out, and as he prepared to take the stage, the question lingered between them: would they both embrace the possibilities awaiting them, or would the fear of their pasts hold them back again? Jake's heart hammered in his chest as he moved toward the stage. The audience's cheers enveloped him like a warm blanket, but they couldn't drown out the doubts swirling in his mind. What was he doing? Did he really think he could stand in front of her, in front of all these people, and share his own truth? But then he looked at Maggie, still glowing with the light of her performance. The joy radiating from her was contagious. She was no longer the timid girl he had known, she had emerged, bold and fierce. For the first time, he saw her as a partner in this journey. Not just a friend, but a kindred spirit, blazing a trail. "Jake!" she called again, her eyes sparkling. "Come on." That voice, filled with encouragement, unfurled something in him. The anxiety still held tight, but there was something else, something that reminded him of all the dreams they had shared, the vows they made to each other during late-night confidences. He took another step forward, and another. As he reached the edge of the stage, he could see the faces of their friends and neighbors, waiting with anticipation. He swallowed hard, trying to quell the storm inside him. "Maggie," he began, but the words snagged in his throat. "Just breathe," she said softly, eyes warm and steady. "We're in this together." Her reassurance was a soft hand on his shoulder, anchoring him. With a shaky breath, he nodded, time slowing as he finally found himself on the stage, with the audience's stares making him acutely aware of his own heartbeat. Maggie shifted slightly, nodding toward the microphone. "You've got this, Jake." The way she looked at him filled with unwavering belief was enough to propel him forward. He reached for the mic, fingers trembling as they grasped the cool metal. It felt foreign and yet so right. So necessary. He stammered, searching for the right words. "I didn't plan this," but he could feel the warmth of the crowd, their hopes blending into his own nervous energy. "I've watched my best friend find her voice, and I can't just sit back anymore. I want to share my voice too." There was a moment of silence, followed by an eruption of murmurs and whispers. Could he really do this? His mind raced as he recalled the countless times he had shied away from being authentic, from speaking up when it mattered the most. But standing here, with Maggie beside him, felt different. Feeling a surge of courage, he strummed the guitar that had been set up on stage. The familiar strings sent a rush of nostalgia through him. It was time. He took a deep breath and began to play the first few chords of a song he had written long ago, one that had always meant so much to him, but he never had the guts to share. As the melody filled the air, the crowd quieted, their faces reflecting a mix of surprise and curiosity. Every chord resonated, echoing his unspoken fears and dreams. He could see Maggie swaying gently, her warm smile encouraging him to pour out every piece of himself. With each passing verse, he steadied himself, finding solace in the strumming of the strings. Everything around him faded until it was just him and the music, perfectly intertwined. Suddenly, the fear started to dissipate, leaving only the pure, unfiltered truth of who he was. Jake was lost in the moment, the music igniting a flame inside. He locked eyes with Maggie, and an understanding passed between them. They were both breaking free, the chains of their self-doubt clattering away as they took these courageous steps together, but just as he finished the chorus, the crowd erupted into applause. The sound was a tidal wave, crashing through the stage and lifting him. Heart pounding, he felt a sense of liberation wash over him. The stage felt bigger, their dreams clearer, and possibility filled the air. As he stepped back to let the applause wash over him, he wondered where would this newfound courage take them? Would they dare chase their dreams together, or would old fears come creeping back? The questions echoed in his heart, and he knew the journey had only just begun. The applause roared like a wave crashing against the shore. Jake could hardly think, his mind buzzing with adrenaline and the warmth of the moment. He stood before the microphone, still trying to grasp what he had just shared, but the taste of freedom was intoxicating. Maggie beamed at him from the side of the stage, her eyes sparkling with pride. She stepped forward, grabbing his hand and pulling him into a bow. Together, they acknowledged the crowd, feeling the love and energy flowing from them. It was surreal, and Jake felt as if he had crossed an invisible threshold he never knew existed. "Jake! That was amazing!" shouted one of their friends from the back, her voice rising above the rest, echoing the general sentiment in the room. He caught snippets of conversations, people exclaiming how proud they were, how they had always believed he could do it. He glanced at Maggie, who was radiating excitement. "You were incredible," she said, her enthusiasm infectious. The way she looked at him made his stomach flutter. It was more than just friendship, they were building something bigger, breaking down walls together, but just as the crowd began to settle, an unexpected electricity filled the air. The MC, a larger-than-life figure with a booming voice, seized the microphone. "And coming up next, we have a special surprise. Please welcome someone who has been a pillar of our community, Miss Parker." The audience erupted again, cheers echoing around the room, but Jake felt a sudden tightness in his chest. Maggie's expression shifted from joy to surprise. "I didn't know she was performing tonight." "Who?" Jake asked, looking around at the buzzing energy filling the space. "Molly Parker," she exclaimed. "She's local, a real talent, but I didn't think she'd want to be here." As the stage lights dimmed and the spotlight shone on her, Jake felt a pulse in the air. He had seen her name on community events but had never heard her sing. The whispers in the crowd built into a gentle crescendo. The moment felt charged, teasing his curiosity. Then she stepped into view. Small in stature but larger than life, Molly stood in front of the mic, a guitar slung over her shoulder. The audience fell quiet, anticipation hanging thick in the air. When she strummed the first chord, it was as if a spell had been cast. Her voice climbed, crystal clear, weaving through the room like a ribbon of gold. Jake couldn't tear his eyes away. There was something raw and beautiful about her, like she was letting everyone into her world. Each word carried a weight that wrapped around Jake's heart. It resonated with the struggles and triumphs he had just shared. The audience swayed, fully absorbed, connecting with her truth like they had with his. "Wow," he whispered, turning to Maggie. She was entranced, her eyes shining with admiration. "She's incredible," Jake said. And he meant it. But there was a tinge of something else in the back of his mind, a little voice questioning if he would ever compare. "Jake, look at her. Just listen, Maggie urged. This is what it means to be brave, showing our true selves. Just like you did. We all have our light, you know. As Molly poured her soul into the music, a realization hit Jake fiercely. It wasn't a competition. They were all part of something bigger. In this moment, vulnerability was their collective strength, but right then, a thought flickered: the idea of stepping into the light together, not alone. Could they put on a show together? Encourage one another in a way that transformed their community's view on talent? Jake watched Molly shine, and the weight of dreams began to swirl around him again. The night had opened doors. The audience was feeling it, he could tell. All these artists, they were looking for connection. So many dreams waiting to be realized. Maggie nudged him, breaking his reverie. Jake, let us talk to Molly after this. We could do something amazing. Yeah, he agreed, feeling a spark of excitement mixed with a tinge of fear. What if she turns us down? Then we keep dreaming. But we have to try. As they clapped for Molly, Jake felt something ignite within him. The journey ahead was full of possibilities, but could they really make their mark without losing what made their friendship special? He couldn't wait to find out. The applause was still echoing in Jake's ears as he and Maggie descended the stage steps, their hearts racing from the thrill of the performance. They weaved through the crowd, the energy palpable, but Jake's mind was clouded with thoughts of Molly's song. It resonated with him deeply, stirring a mix of admiration and self-doubt. Let us go find her, Maggie said, her voice light with enthusiasm. Jake nodded, although a knot tightened in his stomach. Weren't they supposed to be the ones shining tonight? Just as they reached the edge of the stage, a few others rushed forward, eager to congratulate Molly. She was still glowing under the spotlight, surrounded by people wanting to share their compliments. Jake could see her smile lighting up the room, but his heart sank a little as he lingered in the background. Minutes passed, and Molly seemed lost in a whirlpool of joy, chatting and laughing. Jake and Maggie exchanged glances, neither wanting to interrupt. It felt off to push themselves into Molly's shining moment. But as Jake shifted his weight anxiously, he caught a glimpse of her looking over. Their eyes met, and for a fleeting moment, an unspoken connection sparked between them. With renewed courage, Jake took a step forward. Hey, Molly. He called, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Jake. Maggie. She exclaimed, breaking away from the crowd. As she approached, her excitement radiated, and suddenly, her talent didn't seem intimidating anymore, it felt inviting. You were amazing tonight, Jake said, sincerity dripping from his every word. The way you perform, it's incredible. Molly's cheeks turned a rosy pink as she smiled wide. Thanks. That means a lot coming from you both. I loved your performance. It was so honest. Honestly, your song hit hard, Maggie added, stepping next to Jake. We were thinking, maybe we could do something together. Like a performance? A show? Jake held his breath, waiting for Molly's response. The air crackled between them, a mixture of hope and apprehension. Really? Wow. I'd love that. Molly's eyes lit up, reflecting the passion he had only just begun to embrace. But I don't know if I can manage it all. I have other commitments. Commitments? Maggie asked, tilting her head slightly. Molly, you should be sharing your talents with everyone. The community needs to see this. There was an earnestness in Maggie's voice, and it struck something within Jake too. A collective vision began to form. They weren't just bystanders in a community of talent, they could be the sparks igniting something special, something transformative. I mean, it's just so hard to step out there sometimes, you know? Molly sighed, looking down at her guitar. I've always played for myself, never really thought about being out there with others. Then let us do it together, Jake said, determination bubbling to the surface. Let us support each other. Show everyone how much talent there really is here. Molly looked between them, uncertainty dancing in her eyes but slowly morphing into something more. You think we could really do that? Definitely. Maggie encouraged, excitement bubbling. Jake felt that sparking flame inside him grow stronger. Imagine the impact we could make, Molly. We could create a night of art, connect people with music and stories. Let us not let fear hold us back. Molly's eyes brightened with possibility, yet Jake sensed a flicker of hesitation lurking beneath the surface. Okay, but it's going to take effort and a lot of courage, she replied, her voice steadying as she began to find her own resolve. Courage is what we're all about, right? Jake said, matching her gaze with conviction. As the discussion unfolded, the rhythmic beats of possibility flowed through their conversation. Ideas leaped from one to another, visions forming in their minds as they mapped out a potential event. Excitement mixed with nervousness, but it was a thrilling concoction. However, as they harnessed this energy, a question loomed in the back of Jake's mind, a lingering worry about what might happen when they stripped away the walls they had built. Would they truly be able to stand together in the spotlight? The crowd around them pulsed with life, and in the middle of that energy, Jake could feel the winds of change swirling. Together, they could cultivate something beautiful, but could they weather the storm that comes with vulnerability? And just as he felt embers of hope igniting, a nearby shout broke his thoughts. Hey, did you hear? There's an opening for a local talent showcase next week. Jake exchanged a glance with Molly and Maggie, the realization hitting them like a gust of wind. The stage was set. Would they seize the moment and take that leap together, or would fear keep them chained in the shadows? They looked at each other, the question hanging heavily in the air. It was time to decide, to step into the light or perish in the dark. As the echo of the announcer's voice faded into the buzz of the crowd, Jake felt his heart quicken. The urgency in the air was thick, a tangible pull that beckoned them to act now. So, what do we say? Maggie's eyes sparkled with excitement, while Molly bit her lip, uncertainty flickering across her face. I can't believe we're even considering this, Molly said, her voice barely above a whisper. A talent showcase? That feels huge. She looked down, twirling a loose string on her guitar, her nervous habit surfacing. It is huge. Maggie exclaimed, her optimism wrapped around her like a protective cloak. But we can do it, Molly. We have to do it. Imagine the audience, the excitement. Jake nodded, his own nerves battling with a surge of exhilaration. We have to take this chance. Look at all the energy around us right now. People want to be entertained, to feel something. We could give them that. The possibility of sharing their art together seemed to shimmer in the air, but there was still a shadow of doubt hanging over Molly's shoulders. What if I bomb? What if I freeze on stage? Everyone gets nervous, Jake assured her, a small smile creeping onto his face. But together, we can lift each other up. You won't be alone up there. Besides, it's about enjoying ourselves, right? Sharing what we love? Exactly, Maggie chimed in, a wave of conviction washing over her. We have something special. We can turn that fear into something beautiful. Molly took a deep breath, visibly weighing her options. Her fingers repeated their dance along the guitar strings, but the worry in her eyes began to recede just a little. You really think we can pull this off? Absolutely. We have each other, and that makes all the difference, Jake stressed, feeling a newfound determination welling up inside him. Several moments passed as Molly studied their faces, searching for any sign of insincerity. But all she found was hope shimmering in their eyes. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she nodded slowly. Okay. Let us do it. A surge of relief rushed through Jake, igniting a warmth in his chest. They were a team now, bound by the promise of something bigger than themselves. Yes. This is going to be amazing. They spent the next hour brainstorming and planning. Each idea was more vibrant than the last, an open mic night that showcased local talent, music, art, storytelling. Images of the stage filled with a collage of voices made their hearts race, yet as their excitement built, so did an undercurrent of anxiety. "We should probably start preparing practice a lot," Molly said, glancing at her guitar nervously. "So, what will we perform? We should showcase our strengths. You can do your song, and I can support you, maybe create an arrangement with my guitar," Jake suggested, feeling the sound of their ensemble take shape in his mind. "And we could include a personal piece from each of us," Maggie added with a grin, her eyes brightening. "A little taste of who we are as artists." But beneath the thrill, Jake could still hear the whisper of doubt. What if their individual pieces didn't mesh? What if they couldn't rise to the occasion? He briefly scanned the room, now buzzing with energizing camaraderie. As their conversation flowed, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than just a performance, it was a journey into the heart of their fears, a test of their courage. Each note, each word they planned to share was not just part of a show, but part of a larger story about their lives. Shifting slightly, Jake caught Molly's eye, a newfound determination sparking between them. "Whatever happens at the showcase, I believe we're going to create something unforgettable. This moment? It could change everything." But as the weight of their dreams settled in the air, another thought cracked through the excitement like a lightning bolt. "What if we aren't ready for this?" Jake asked, surprised at the words spilling out before he could rein them in. The flicker of doubt in their eyes showed they all felt it. Would they truly be ready to stand shoulder to shoulder in front of everyone? That question hung between them, ready to ignite a fire of courage or extinguish their dreams before they even began. Jake glanced at Molly and Maggie, a potent mix of excitement and fear coursing through him. What lay ahead was a mystery, a risk that they could either embrace or let slip away. They were on the edge of something monumental. With a deep breath, he realized they were about to redefine their limits. Together, they would face whatever came next, for better or worse. And with their decision made, another thought flickered in Jake's mind. If they were to take the plunge, what else might they discover about themselves in the process? The future loomed uncertainly, an open door waiting to be stepped through. Would they enter, together? The answer flew through the room like a spark, igniting between them. The night was still young, but their journey was just beginning and the best was yet to come. The next few days blurred together, an exciting whirlwind of rehearsals and planning. Their small practice space in Maggie's living room transformed into a vibrant studio. The remnants of yesterday's junk food were scattered around like confetti in a celebration, and the air filled with their laughter, the sound of strumming guitars, and the rustle of scribbled notes. Molly had started to look more confident. With every strum, her voice grew stronger, resonating against the walls, spilling out their dreams into the world. Yet beneath that confidence lay a flicker of anxiety that she couldn't fully shake off. "I just want everything to be perfect," she confided one afternoon, her fingers hovering over the guitar strings. "Perfect is overrated," Jake replied, leaning back against the wall, arms crossed. "What makes a performance special isn't perfection, it's authenticity. It's who we are." He wished he believed his own words fully, but doubt lingered like a shadow at the edges of his mind. Maggie piped up, her eyes shimmering with enthusiasm. "Let us just focus on enjoying it. Feel the music. Our audience will connect with that." But as excitement blossomed in their hearts, another layer of reality loomed overhead. Time was running out. The showcase was just a week away, and with every passing moment, the weight of it all felt heavier. They were no longer just performing, they were bearing their souls. On Saturday, during their usual jam session, something unexpected happened. Molly had been working on a new piece, something raw and personal. She had kept it to herself, too scared to share it. But as the melody wrapped around her, words began to flow like a river bursting its banks. "Guys, I want to try something," she said hesitantly, a mix of excitement and fear swirling in her voice. "I've been writing. It's not finished, but Jake and Maggie exchanged an encouraging glance. "Go for it," Jake urged, leaning forward, eager to hear what she had hidden away. With a deep breath, Molly let her fingers dance across the strings, her voice trembling but determined. The first few notes drifted into the room, haunting yet beautiful. As she sang, her lyrics unfolded like petals of a shy flower blooming for the first time. They told a story of struggle, hope, and perseverance, words tied deep within her heart coming to life in that moment. As she finished, silence enveloped the room. Jake stared wide-eyed, his mouth slightly agape. "Molly, that was incredible!" he exclaimed, the enthusiasm bursting through him like fireworks. Maggie stood up excitedly. "Whoa! You have to include that in the showcase. It's so powerful." The light in Molly's eyes flickered with both joy and fear. "Really? Do you think it's good enough?" "Not just good enough, it's remarkable," Jake continued, his heart pounding. "You've discovered a hidden talent, and sharing that will resonate with people. It's you at your most authentic." Molly's lips curled into a smile, though uncertainty still danced behind her gaze. What if they didn't respond well? What if her vulnerabilities were too exposed? "We believe in you," Maggie said, stepping closer, her voice gentle but firm. "You can't let fear stop you from shining. This is your moment." In that moment, surrounded by her friends, Molly felt a flicker of resilience. Their faith ignited a spark within her, and she slowly nodded. Perhaps sharing her story was exactly what they needed to do. Perhaps these fears could be turned into something beautiful, just like Maggie had said. As they launched into rehearsals, the energy thickened with anticipation. Everything seemed to be aligning. But alongside the excitement, new doubts seeped in. Would Molly truly step out of her comfort zone on that stage? Would they be ready to lift each other up? The night of the showcase loomed closer. Jake glanced at his friends, his stomach twisting with excitement and dread alike. They had come so far, and the journey felt like it was just about to explode into something overwhelmingly beautiful. But as he watched Molly, the unvoiced questions pressed against his heart like a weight. What if the performance brought them all closer together, or tore them apart? In that charged silence, as rehearsals continued, Jake realized the answer might not just be in the music they shared. What they were about to face on that stage could redefine them all in ways they never imagined. Would they truly have what it takes? Their fate awaited just beyond the curtain. The night of the showcase arrived, draped in the intoxicating scent of anticipation, the air electric with nerves and excitement. The small venue buzzed with chatter, the murmurs of the audience a distant hum against the pounding beat of Jake's heart. He adjusted his clothes for the umpteenth time, smoothing the seams of his shirt, trying to calm the spiral of thoughts racing in his mind. Molly stood off to the side, her fingers brushing against the familiar strings of her guitar. Her heart beat in a frenetic rhythm, each thump louder than the last. She watched performers before them take the stage, shining brightly, each note they played a testament to their fearlessness. What if the spotlight exposed her insecurities instead of her strengths? Would the audience hear her story or simply judge her performance? Jake caught sight of her, and despite his own worries, he felt an urgency to lift her spirits. "You ready?" he asked, his voice steady but laced with a hint of vulnerability. Molly flashed a nervous smile. "I think so. I don't know," she admitted, glancing back at the crowd, her gaze lingering on faces filled with eager expectation. "Breathe," Jake said, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Just remember, this is about us. We're in this together." The stage lights flickered, pulling their attention back to the presenters. Maggie shuffled in place, her energy palpable, her enthusiasm overwhelming. "Okay. We can do this. One more song and then it's our turn," she chirped, as if trying to infuse fire into their collective nerves. As they waited, the hosts announced them, and Jake felt a surge of adrenaline kick in. "This is it," he whispered under his breath, a mantra for his racing heart. Moments later, they stepped into the spotlight. The bright glow enveloped them, but it did little to ease the knot in Molly's stomach. The crowd offered a warm welcome, but the sound felt muffled, almost surreal against the pounding of her heartbeat. Jake took the lead, his voice cutting through the tension. "Hey everyone! We're so excited to be here. Tonight, we want to share a journey with you, a journey of self-expression, honesty, and friendship." Each word seemed to pull Molly closer to the surface of her fear, giving her strength. The audience leaned into their story, and suddenly her doubts felt distant, lost in the swell of shared experience. As they began to play, Molly's initial reservations melted away with the first few notes. The melody flowed, and with it, the words. Each line of her song transformed from a whisper of anxiety into a resounding declaration of hope. The vulnerability she feared became her strength. Each strum of the guitar drew the audience in, their faces lighting up with recognition, feeling the struggle she had poured into her lyrics. Eyes glimmered in the darkness, and for a moment, time stilled. She saw people nodding, tears shimmering, connecting deeply with the raw emotion of her song. It was as if they could feel the weight of her fears lifting, just as she was shedding them, layer by layer. In the middle of her performance, she caught a glimpse of Jake at the corner of her vision. He was smiling, eyes wide with pride and encouragement. Maggie swayed slowly, lost in the moment, radiating joy. They were all in it together, and the conviction of the music filled the space. As the last note hung in the air, silence blanketed the room before the audience erupted into applause. Molly's chest swelled with a mix of disbelief and exhilaration. Had she really just shared that part of herself with all these people? The world spun on its axis, shifting something fundamental in her. She had not only performed, she had awakened something within herself. The sense of belonging melted away her fears and painted everything in bright strokes of confidence. But just as pride began to fill her heart, an unexpected wave of anxiety washed over Jake. He looked at Molly, the burden of unexpressed feelings brewing dangerously close to the surface. Would he have the courage to reveal the truth about what she truly meant to him, or would he hold it back, chaining himself to the fear of rejection? The final applause rang in his ears like a bell, and as the lights dimmed, he realized the weight of the moment was only the beginning of something greater. What did that truth mean for them all? And would he find the strength to share it? With the echo of the crowd still ringing, Jake knew he stood at a crossroads. The next step could either bridge the gap or widen it. Jake's heart raced as the thundering applause washed over him like a warm tide. Molly had just unveiled a piece of herself that she had feared to share, and yet it felt as if the universe had shifted. It was a powerful reminder of the beauty found in vulnerability, and as he stood amidst the cheers of their community, the weight of his unspoken feelings pressed down heavily. Days of practice and moments of doubt flashed through his mind. Was he ready to share his heart alongside hers? The stage beckoned, alive with the energy of excited faces, yet with every cheer, his confidence wavered. But as he looked toward Molly, basking in the glow of acceptance, the nagging thread of fear began to unravel. "Jake!" Maggie's eager whisper pulled him from his thoughts. "It's your turn." She beamed, her excitement infused with solidarity. Together they had come so far, they had all transformed into something brighter. Yes. His voice came out steadier than he felt, with the supportive smiles urging him on. With each step toward the microphone, the weight began to shift. He inhaled deeply, soaking in the warmth and kindness of the audience. He saw familiar faces, friends, neighbors, each one radiating encouragement. As he stood in the spotlight, the echoes of past fears faded like shadows in the dawn, replaced by clarity of purpose. "Hi everyone. I'm Jake," he began, the tremor in his voice mingling with excitement. "Tonight, I want to share a song that has been something I've held onto for far too long. It's about hope, friendship, and the courage to embrace who we are." As he reached for the guitar, the cool wooden body steadied his hands. The first chord rang out confidently. It filled the room, mingling perfectly with the memories of fear that had once engulfed him. He took a deep breath, letting the music lead him, his voice bursting forth as he began to sing. With each lyric, he laid bare pieces of his soul. He sung of friendships forged in struggle, of the unseen battles they all fought, and the beauty of stepping into the light together. His gaze fell on Molly, her expression a mix of awe and encouragement. She was right there, sharing this moment with him, just as they had promised to support one another. The audience leaned forward, captivated and connecting with his raw honesty. The room felt alive, a sea of faces washed over by the power of their stories intertwined. The doubts that had once threatened to swallow him whole now transformed into a rhythm, guiding him like a heartbeat. As he finished, a wave of silence enveloped the room before it erupted into applause. The warmth of acceptance wrapped around him, igniting a sense of liberation. Jake smiled, realizing that he had joined Molly on that exhilarating precipice of vulnerability. They had both stepped into their light, together. As the applause swelled, he caught her eye again, their mutual understanding igniting something deeper. He stepped down from the stage, heart still racing, but now buoyed by a new sense of clarity. "Molly," he called, reaching her side, breaths mingling in exhilaration. "What was that?" She laughed, her joy infectious. "You were incredible." "Thanks," he said, fighting the urge to retreat within himself again. Instead, he felt the courage building inside. He took a step closer, glancing at Maggie, who was smiling back, approval shining in her eyes. "But really, I just realized how powerful it is when we share our truth. It's everything." "Exactly," Molly replied, her expression softening. "It's scary, but it's liberating too." Jake's heart raced with the words unspoken at the back of his mind. "Molly, I didn't just admire your bravery tonight because you sang. I admire who you are. You've ignited something in me that I didn't know was there. I don't want to hide from it anymore." Her gaze met his, full of warmth and understanding, and Jake felt the reckless courage swelling within him. "I want to be honest about my feelings, all of them." Molly's eyes widened slightly, a mix of surprise and hope flickering across her face. "You want to explore them?" "Yeah, together. Through everything. Just like we've done tonight." The words came tumbling out, a floodgate of emotion finally unleashed. "I don't want to be just friends. I want us to support each other, to grow together, to dream together, whatever that means." Silence enveloped them, and the noise of the aftermath of the showcase faded around them like a dream. Just then, Maggie chimed in, "The best relationships are built on truth. You guys are amazing." Molly finally smiled, her features radiating something Jake had yearned to see. "I feel it too, Jake. I've been waiting to hear you say this." In that moment, the truth stitched itself into the fabric of their friendship, creating a bond that pulsed with vibrancy. The past fears fell behind them, intertwined now with hope for a shared future. As they embraced the moment, the crowd buzzed around them, still celebrating, but for Jake, everything had shifted. He had stepped from the shadows into the light, standing shoulder to shoulder with Molly and Maggie, a trio of transformed souls ready to face the world, their hearts wide open. Together, they would navigate this new journey, chasing dreams and inspiring others along the way. The night was just beginning, and with each step they took forward, a beautiful adventure awaited them. And as they left the stage, hand in hand, Jake knew this was only the beginning. If you felt this journey and want to continue experiencing transformations like this one, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait even one more second to show your support with a like. Leave a comment about your favorite moment. And share this video with 5 friends who need to understand the power of stepping boldly into the light. Your support makes all the difference. Let us keep this magic going.